everybody. First off, before we get into this, I want to apologize for my last work video. Woo! One of those days, but I give it to you raw. Anyway, meet me back here today. We're going to talk about how to go back to a stick and brick after you fell for the glam ads lies. See you in a minute. Have you ever woke up and wondered what was wrong with you? You knew you wanted to be elsewhere, that there was more to life than the life you were living, more than the bills you were paying, the job you were keeping. Look to the horizon, to the sunsets. Your answer is there. Put your feet on the ground and take a deep breath and step into the nomadic lifestyle. You will not regret it. Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great day. Oh yeah, you know what? It's in the 70s and 80s here in Arizona. It's really nice. Anyway, today's subject is coffee. How do we go back to being in a stick and brick after we've given up everything over a nomadic lie? After the glam ads lied, pretty much. But before we get started, can you guys believe I actually had one lady go, "Do you really drink coffee or is that water in your cup?" Really? You know, guys, I gotta tell you, some of the troll comments are so funny. I can tell they have never watched my video, or they would have seen that cup really full a lot of times. You know, no, I hate water. Just saying. Oh, God, too funny. Or the one that says, "Oh, your hair's too long." Well, sweetheart, if you want to pay my bills, you can tell me how to wear it. And then that didn't work so good for my ex-husband. Just saying. Anyway, let's talk about how to get back in a stick and brick, or some of the challenges that we have when we've gone nomadic and we have to go back. You know, guys, I told you I gave up everything. I gave up everything to be nomadic. So what happens when there comes a time when you don't want to be, or you can't be anymore? I couldn't because my rig was moldy. But what happens when we come to the time when we can't be nomadic anymore? How hard is it to readapt to a brick and stick? Yeah, well, let me just say, that's pretty hard. You know, when I first came into this little apartment, I made a video about the 10 things or the 5 things that I liked about being in a brick and stick. And yeah, unlimited hot water is the bomb. But what I didn't do is I didn't make a video about how hard it was to even get furniture for this studio. And this is a studio, you guys. I'm not kidding. See, when we go into an RV, we don't need no furniture. None. The beds are there, the couch, the tables, everything. So we end up getting rid of everything. We end up minimizing our dishes, our pots, our pans, our small appliances. We end up minimizing our clothes, our shoes. We end up minimizing so many things, you guys. And how do you go back? Well, let me first say that when you do go back, you're losing a lot of money, because all those hoses and the black tank hose to empty, and the gloves, and you guys, all the equipment you had to buy to be nomadic, where are you going to put it? If you don't have that rig anymore, you're going to lose it. That's right. So that's more money yet. And I'm talking $200, $300 to $500 in add-ons. You know what? I had 3 5-gallon gas cans. I had 2, a 2.5, and I had a 1. Ginger. Shush. Anyhow, so those gas cans are $20 each. The sewer hose that I had to connect, that was $9.99. The little knuckles on each end, those were another $9 each. The tire covers, they were 2 for $30. I mean, I could go on and on and on, you guys. But the fact is, the money you lose going back into a stick and brick is comparable to the money you put out going into a stick and brick. So not only are you losing all that money, and if you have solar, you're losing your solar, a generator, you're losing your generator. Because when I came here, I have barely room for 2 chairs outside. 2 of my chairs. My kitchen table is my table from outside. You know, I had no furniture. I had to go buy a bed. I had to buy a chair. Thank God I had my TV. But, you know, I could go on and on and on about what you have to buy. I had to buy clothes again. I had to buy shoes again. I had to buy more dishes, more pots, more pans. Because when you're in a stick and brick, you're living life like you used to. You don't have all the spices you used to have. Because the fact is, you don't really cook like you used to in a rig. You just don't. And the smaller the rig, the less you cook. I'm just saying, there were plenty of times I lived on sandwiches. Yeah, I do say sandwich. Just saying. But anyhow, there were many times I lived on sandwiches. Yeah. So when we think about how we're ripped off by the scam ads and the glam ads over this fairy tale that they're selling everyone, we have to stop and think about what it's going to cost us when we have to go back to a brick and stick. It's been one of the hardest things I ever did. Getting into a rig was easier for me because I had so much stuff I could give away or sell. Getting back into a brick and stick has been very challenging. And then finding one you can actually adapt to and live in. It's very hard to go back to being in one place all the time. Just saying. Especially if you got gypsy in your blood like I do. So this is another thing that you need to consider before you go nomadic. It's something that we have to think about because it's a part of life. You know, guys, life isn't always fair. And things that we want to do don't always work out. And so the fact is no matter how much you plan, no matter how pinch you do or what you buy, there could be the fact that you could end up back in a stick and brick. How are you going to do it? You'll have no furniture. You'll have very little of everything because there's no room in those places. So my advice is, again, keep your stick and brick. Keep it. If you can't keep it and you have to sell that stick and brick, have a relative somewhere, maybe that's got a grandmother cottage or a mother-in-law cottage or has an extra room that you know that you can go and live if it comes worse to worse. Because you also have to come up with the money to rent that new place. And that's deposits, that's credit checks. A lot of money involved, you guys. Anyway, this is something I needed to put out there. I've touched on so many subjects, but the cost of going back to a brick and stick is astronomical. It's crazy. And you know what really gets me? Is the one nomad that has begged a mobile home off her viewers just to complain of what a dump and what a rat-infested place it is, so her viewers will now pay to remodel it. You know, their contempt for their own viewers, their own subscribers amazes me. The audacity of some of these glam mads, scam mads. Anyway, y'all have a good day. Remember to love yourself, because if you don't love you, ain't nobody gonna love you. Go do something good for you today.